We're all kind of inspire each other to take whatever direction that we take. One of the people that I subscribe to, I've just watched one of their videos, and it's really kind of pointed me into a direction I'd like to go. And it's been something that has somewhat been in the back of my mind for several weeks now. And one thing that I'd love, love, love to do is go out and do interviews within my own community. Don't have a webcam or don't have a camcorder. So if anybody is interested and anybody happens to have a camera they want to get rid of, um, I'd really love to take this to my own community because my community is going to be the same as your community, and we aren't asking the right questions. What I see I would love to do is do some interviews with people that are needing a food bank. And I'm in Canada. We happen to think our economy is doing really good. So you'll see a perspective from um, a country that thinks we're doing good. And this is, taking your community back to the times when you think it was doing good. It wasn't, just when you had your jobs and you were enjoying your stuff, there were people that were homeless. There, were a lot of people suffering. We still had third world country, but you didn't see it because you thought everything was going really well. So that's what's going on here in Canada is everybody thinks everything is going well. And there's some people out there that think they've got a good idea, but they're basically doing nothing. But I would like to start doing some videos on this. Interview some people that are homeless so you can get their perspective. They have a voice that they just have a problem communicating that with the rest of the world. But if everybody knew where they were coming from, you'd be treating them a lot different. And you'd start to see that this can happen to you. So I'd also like to interview businesses that are really successful and maybe interview them to see, how good is their business doing for their community? Have they looked past their own noses? Um, an auto industry, for one, I would love to interview the auto industry and ask them some questions that, if you had the opportunity to sell free energy machines, would you? Or you logged in to, what somebody wants you to sell, or can you make a shift yourself as a dealer and start selling cars that consumers actually want? I'd love to interview a few politicians to see, how many complaints do they get? How many problems do they solve? What grabs their attention more? The wealthy guy that's complaining, or, are they listening to anybody at the bottom? I'd like to do a few really, really good interviews. I'd like to interview the newspaper. I'd like to interview the radio stations. I'd like to see why they're not able to tell the truth. You know, don't know how good I'd be because a lot of people won't tell the truth. I'd love to go into some of these nonprofit organizations and, like Red Cross, and interview them and see, are you kind of got a need to continue these problems so that the CEOs can get all of the money. In the area I'm living at, I've been bombarded by Red Cross volunteers. They're all over the streets. They're stopping everybody they can. These young kids that are thinking they're doing something good by working for a nonprofit organization. Meanwhile, they're not getting paid. It's all a volunteer. And what they're doing is collecting money. And who gets all of the money? The guys that get paid. None of this money actually flows down to people that need it. It's all of the office work and the guys that are the CEOs, the management, because we got to pay our management well because they're managing so much money. I say if you're doing a good job, you should be doing it as a volunteer like the guys that are collecting that money. If you can't do it as a volunteer, then why should anybody else be doing it as a volunteer? Clearly, these nonprofits have zero interest in actually solving problems, because if they did, they'd be losing their jobs. So, there's just, I would like to, do what this guy is suggesting, that we put some of our videos um, on businesses that are working, businesses that are actually making some sense. I'd like to film them and show why they're making some sense and why they're best for our communities. And let's start celebrating some businesses that are going into a good direction, but at the same time, let's see if we can interview some of these other businesses that are kind of destroying our economic system, and see if maybe just an interview might point them in a direction that maybe I should be doing things a little differently. So if that sounds like any type of videos that you'd like to see, kind of need a little support for that, since I don't have a camera, but I'm willing to go out there and do the work. I'm willing to go out there and do the interviews and post them, so you can see what's going on in my community and see if that's any relationship to what's going on in your community. I don't think we're all that different no matter where you go. We all have our own cultures. Our cultures are slightly different, but ultimately they're all the same. And somebody's got to be dominating somebody else to be able to profit. We have to have a tiered system and not an equal system. We don't have shared information, which is called education, but we make sure that only a selected few get the information. We make the information spread so complicated that it takes you years to be able to receive it, and it's very tunnel vision. You'll only get information dealing with one tunnel vision subject. You won't get the whole. And when we can start spreading the whole of all of the information, and we can see past our own noses that when you think there's a good idea, may not be such a good idea. You got to be able to communicate with people and see if it's something that actually benefits our planet or destroys our planet. So again, if anybody wants to support that idea, I'm out here willing to do the work. If you have a camera that, you've upgraded, you got an extra one lying around the house, could use one, send me an email. Peace out.